Welcome to Blue Helm Space News Brief. You can find us at bluehelmco.com. Burt Rutan said, quote, "In the coming era of manned space exploration by the private sector, market forces will spur development and yield new, low-cost space technologies. If the history of private aviation is any guide, private development efforts will be safer too," unquote. Today is Wednesday, September 16th, and these are your top space news headlines. The U.S. National Science Foundation has awarded a $17.5 million grant to the GMTO Corporation, which is developing the GMT, the Giant Magellan Telescope, and will operate the big scope once it gets up and running in the Chilean Andes in the late 2020s. Lockheed Martin announced today it received a $51.2 million contract to begin integrating U.S. missile warning satellites with a new ground system that is being developed to command and control all military satellites in the future. Under the contract from the U.S. Space Force's Space and Missile Systems Center, Lockheed Martin will start the process of mitigating a space-based infrared system, SBIRS, geosynchronous satellite to the next generation enterprise ground system known as EGS. EGS will be a common command and control architecture that will be used to fly all military satellites in the future, so the Space Force doesn't have to develop a new ground system every time it introduces a new satellite. In a September 15th webinar held by Dynetics in cooperation with the American Institute for Aeronautics and Astronautics, the company discussed the overall architecture for the lander it's developing as part of NASA's Human Landing System, HLS, program. Dynetics is one of 3 companies that received HLS contracts from NASA in April for initial design studies of the lander that can transport astronauts to and from the lunar surface. The lunar lander under development by Dynetics for NASA's Artemis program will make use of in-space refueling of cryogenic propellants and require 3 launches in quick succession, company officials revealed. If you want to read more about the specific article and how it works, the link is in the show notes. An experimental navigation satellite developed by the Air Force Research Laboratory will fly into orbit in 2022 on USSF-106, a mission recently awarded to ULA under a National Security Space Launch Program. NTS-3 is one of the AFRL's most ambitious space projects that could shape the future of military PNT. You can see all of Arlene Beers-Green, the program manager of Navigation Technology Satellite 3, NTS-3, comments about the topic in the article linked in the show notes. Do you hear that? That's the sound of no worries. That's future shredding. Contactless on-site shredding from LA to Orange County. We provide residential and commercial service to meet your needs. You don't have to believe me. Go ahead and check out our Yelp reviews. Our friendly staff is here to meet and exceed your needs. So give us a call at 562-426-0557 or visit our website at futureshredding.com to set up a reoccurring or one-time purge shredding service. Again, that's 562-426-0557 or futureshredding.com. Law, policy, and events in space. Congress is expected to pass a continuing resolution to fund the federal government when the new fiscal year begins October 1st. The extended CR that spans into next year will be problematic for the U.S. Space Force because all its money is in the Air Force's budget and could not be transferred until Congress passes a full-year appropriation bill. Quote, "A long-term CR won't be good for our service," unquote, the head of the U.S. Space Force, General John J. Raymond, said September 15th. Raymond said he worries that the billions of dollars that were supposed to be moved from the Air Force's budget to the Space Force will not be transferred during a CR, complicating the service's ability to fund operations and programs. Tomorrow there's a SpaceX launch supposed to happen of the Falcon 9 rocket. In final news, last year NASA declared the International Space Station open for business. Although firms could already do research on the ISS under contract with NASA, the agency hoped to stimulate pure commerce, including the manufacture of biotech and the development of on-orbit industries that could support NASA's deep space exploration goals. The goal transpired into companies jumping on board, or floating on board rather, to film commercials. Estée Lauder, along with Adidas, are the first to sign on to film at ISS. You know, our good buddy Ryan Shu, if he listens to this podcast, which he should because, you know, he does all of the marketing and logo design for this, which, side note, he's changing as we speak. He will be quick to tell you that he is very stoked for Tom Cruise to film up in space, if you remember us covering that story a couple months back. Anyway, this just reminded me of that, and he reminded me of that, rather. But filming in space on the ISS, how rad is that? Capitalism once again, rearing its green little head. All right, y'all. We'll have more tomorrow. Drink your water. Stay safe out there if you're up in Oregon. All right, talk to you tomorrow. Blue Helm.